Dear beloved Creator of all that is, Creator of all that is within, residing within each of us is that part of you as we are co-creators of our reality. And we acknowledge and give gratitude for our increasing awareness of this truth. In acknowledging this truth, we ask that this awareness permeate all that we do in all of our waking moments, in your service. In so doing, we are here to acknowledge service to other rather than service to self. We choose to no longer rely, depend, nor vacate to the creation the ogres want from us in their programming and their darkness. Rather, now awakened, we recognize and act according to the beneficent, wondrous co-creators as you intended. And we are here to acknowledge our actions in that service to other always contains the prime directive of beneficent service for all that is goodly and godly. By creating cohesion and heartful resonance with one another in this higher purpose and from our higher selves, we claim our sovereignty as the beautiful mind and body and spirit beings created by you in your image. And in so doing, we choose to use this lifetime to revindicate, restore, and refresh our common laws and take back our responsibilities of self-governance and self-responsibility, so gradually lost so long ago. We gather here then, ready and willing to do and act, well armed with understanding and standing freely as a force of your grace and divine love as our shield. And so it is. Thank you. So I want to thank you all for being here. We needed 19 or more, and we have 19. So if we couldn't do this lawfully. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Bobby, for bringing your friend. Thank you for everyone being here. It's just so important.
Thank you for the email.
Of course. So there are two documents that we're going to sign. One of them is a notice and demand that we're going to be delivering over there to 5 entities in that building, the Marco Hatfield Federal Courthouse. And this has been an ongoing thing. There's been a lot going on, a lot of paperwork directed that way, and this is like the notice and final thing. The other thing is Second Amendment. We've been trespassed. We're not going to allow this thing that's going on Oregon. So we're addressing it. It's going to the Ninth Circuit Court, and we're going to address that as well. So I'm only going to read the document that is here for the grand jury to vote on. The other is not a vote. The other is a different thing. So I'm going to read this. It's kind of lengthy, but then there is a sign-up page. We just signed the page that's connected to this, but there's a third page. It's a sign-up page because there's not enough room on a 2-page document for everyone to sign. So just so you know, it's just a blank page with a header and a footer, so you'll go ahead and sign that. And then there's another page to sign that goes over there as well for our records. So there's a lot of pages to sign, 10 and 8 or 9. So there's a lot of signing. So you're going to sign in red, print in blue, and the date underneath in blue. Okay, red, blue, then thumbprint. So just and then thumbprint. So after, when we get started, I'll just kind of give that direction again so everyone is clear what to do. Today our Article 3, Amendment 7 Civilian Court of Record has convened a grand jury to vote on the incontrovertible evidence of the corruption in our courts, wherein the United States of America's Constitution and the laws set forth by existing corporate entities in the de facto, as well as the people in the de jure, that is us, have been grossly ignored, and we no longer accept being ignored. The coining of monies, which is fiat, the taking of favors, which is emolument, the titling, such as Esquire, Gentleman, occur through a corrupt CRIS, that is C-R-I-S, Court Registry Investment System, an interest-bearing cash management tool administered by the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts. defrauding the public and deceiving juries who are persuaded to find defendants guilty to fill the monetary coffers of the courts system. Our justice system requires of judges, attorneys, leos, and all elected officials and public servants to swear a proper oath, to be bonded, and particularly in the case of attorneys and judges, register with FARA, Foreign Agents Registration Act. Our Article 3 Civilian Court of Record has unrelentingly challenged those entities, all of whom deny any response to our demands for their bona fides. We ask the jury to decide, do they acquiesce because they know and dare not admit that they are committing treason by their actions, holding positions of power and authority over the people, the land, and soil when they themselves represent and are foreign entities, exercising and enforcing their power for personal gain is intolerable to us. Therefore, we have incontrovertible evidence that the United States of America's Constitution, hence referred to as the Constitution, was breached by the following. The U.S. District Court judge, which is federal, Karen Emmerich, whose ruling violated the Second Amendment of the Constitution. A quote, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is treason by a fraudulent authority figure against the Constitution and the people on Oregon." Number 2, every Oregon senator and representative who passed the media-influenced public vote and voted for the bill to go forward. This is treason against the people on Oregon and the Constitution. Number 3, Governor Kotek, who signed the bill. This is treason against the people on Oregon and the Constitution. The Ninth Circuit Court, also fraudulent, will be notified of these violations and required to produce their own bona fides. If not provided, the Ninth Circuit Court too will be noticed and held for treason against the Constitution and the people. The Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly is an Article 1, Section 1 social compact addressing the corruption and fraud in our political structure on Oregon on every level: legislative, judicial, executive, including the media, the medical, and educational industries, corporate entities. When referring to the First and Second Amendments of the United States of America's Constitution, free speech and the right to bear arms has somehow gotten twisted in the minds of the general public to be considered extreme conservatism. That very perception is the result of the intensive programming wrought on the people by those who choose politics over the United States of America's Constitution. Since when is upholding the original, the United States of America's Constitution, have been increasingly trampled? Oh, and its Bill of Rights associated with extreme conservatism. These first 2 amendments to the Constitution have been increasingly trampled, increment by increment. A little bit here, a little more there. So here we are, decades and generations later, oblivious to the overreach and downright ignorance of this sacred document that has kept this nation as intact as it has prevailed, despite constant onslaughts. Where is the objection to our using fiat currency not backed by anything, when our Constitution clearly states in Article 1, Section 8, quote, "The Congress shall have power to coin money, regulate the value thereof, to provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States." How does one pay a debt with a debt? Fiat currency. It's a sham and a scam, yet we willingly or begrudgingly pay our taxes to a foreign entity, the Federal Reserve, the IRS, the World Bank. Quote, "Congress has the power to constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. Another let-it-slide approach to the usurpations of our set boundaries by intelligent yet imperfect men who knew a great deal about the dangers of abuse of power. So much has been let slide, and so many violations to people's lives and liberties, yet no tribunals. Where is our voice? We are here now to vote and be heard." And in section 9, quote, no title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept of any present emolument, office, or title of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state, end quote. Let all that sink in. Section 9 of Article 1 is perhaps the most egregious of them all. Why? What was originally set up to provide common law of the land and soil, and that of, by, and for the people was usurped subtly at first, then encroached bit by bit, like a creeping cancer, consuming our liberties, our freedom, our right thinking, even our sensibilities and rationalities. The programming has worked us to a point of collectivism and social psychosis, so much so that our culture has become soft and malleable, able to fear being caught for any infringement of the myriad of fraudulent laws passed against us by foreign agents, esquires, judges, attorneys, DAs, et al. They have usurped authority, made presumptions, and have done treason by whom, by their deeds, have deprived us of our authority to self-govern and self-determine. Herewith we request the good people in this grand jury to come forth with their vote. And I'll read two more parts that are part of our, always on our paper. With full faith and credit governing laws established in this document at this time, Declaration of the 13 Colonies, Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union, Oregon's original constitutions circa 1859, and the United States of America's Constitution circa 1859, and ORCP 20A, Clearfield Doctrine, Carty Doctrine, Ex parte Young, Ex parte Milligan, McCarran-Walters Act 1952, Judiciary Act 1789, Section 32, Judgment Nil Deceit are all specifically called into this document. They are all governing law, which must be accepted. The current 13th and 14th Amendments are bogus and must be rejected. Take heed of the Blackstone commentaries. The U.S. DOJ is agent to the entity responsible for the enumerated requirements of Article 3, the one Supreme Court that must claim original jurisdiction to be a court considered to have jurisdiction when found in conjunction with our Amendment 7 court. That is us. The U.S. DOJ has failed in their responsibility. We must do it ourselves. We cannot do it alone. And we reserve the right to define all the words we use. We reserve the right to determine our forms of communication. The living testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth is given by I am known as the one of the people, clerk of our civilian court of record, having implemented ex parte Milligan, nullifying martial law, legal code, FEMA, and Article 1, Section 1, aka Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly's Article 3, 1 Supreme Court, claiming original jurisdiction of Oregon and state among the several states in the constitutionally de jure law form of the United States of America's Constitution and Oregon's Constitution circa 1859, Ron Vroman, the common man, private. Ron Charles Vroman in cursive in my birth certificate, and as trustee to the Private Membership Association, Ronald Charles Vroman, all caps, the straw man, all caps, also known as Ronald Charles Vroman, Private Attorney General by the United States Congress, 42 U.S.C. 1988 and 18 U.S.C. 1510 and 18 U.S.C. 1512, and to be known as one of the people, also qualified criminal investigator and federal witness, and by living testimony without rebuttal. Status identified and without rebuttal in the City of Beaverton Public Record, Beaverton Municipal Court, and the United States Federal District Court, Portland, Oregon. U.S. Navy veteran, 515-9365, discharge. With flesh, blood, and soul, body, mind, spirit, a man on Oregon and Oregonian. A continuous traveler, a non-U.S. citizen born August 14, 1938, Reno, Nevada, with two ancestors, a father and son, direct bloodline that fought for New York in our revolutions. My mother's father, born Stockwell Gonzalez in 1876, New Mexico. Mail general delivery, Beaverton, Oregon, 97005, 503, etc. Okay, there's a Jural where you will sign that this is what we are signing because there is limited space. And then there will be a separate page for you to sign with one on sheet. And then there will be one other page that's a document that has somewhat limited space, but you can squeeze it in. So we don't need everyone's signature on that. Get as many on as we can. Okay. So thank you, everyone. And so Tanya now is going to lead the vote.
Okay. Catherine, how do you vote? Catherine, how do you vote? How do you vote?
Guilty.
Guilty. How to vote?
Firm? Affirmative.
Yes.
Yes.
Bobby Graves, how do you vote?
I do?
Ron Bowden, how do you vote?
Yes.
I do.
Cynthia Palmatier.
Affirmative.
Guilty, that's right, guilty. Farwell.
Guilty.
Loretta. How does Loretta vote, Cynthia? Guilty.
Is that affirmative?
Christina.
Guilty.
Glenn.
Guilty.
Teresa.
Guilty.
Laura.
Guilty.
Brandon. Raymond.
Guilty.
William.
Guilty.
Me, guilty. Ann.
Guilty.
Jason.
Guilty.
Catherine.
She said it.
She said guilty.
I heard her.
Charlie.
I'm guilty.
Dave. How do you vote?
Guilty.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay.
Guilty.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, "Just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me." And they did. They shot him dead with his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, shot him 3 more times.